David says he was fired because he was white. No evidence of this, by the way. David sued. David got $10 million. Landmark decision. A Michigan man who sued his employer after alleging that he was fired because he is a white man has now been awarded $10 million in a landmark judgment by a North Carolina jury. Okay? According to a report from CBS News, David Duval was fired in 2018 from his role as Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Novant Health. He sued the company the following year. In the suit, Duval claims that he was replaced by a black woman. Well, that's all the data he needs. That's evidence enough. He was fired and they hired a black woman. Obviously, this is white male discrimination. And a white woman shortly after his 5th anniversary with the company as part, as he said, as part of an intentional campaign to promote diversity in its management ranks, okay? However, Novant Health, which is based in Winston-Salem, denied the allegations, saying that Duval was fired for deficient performance and for delegating critical duties to his subordinates instead of completing them himself. Let's put up his picture again. Let's do that. Yeah, that's what he did. I can look at his face and tell. He looks like the guy who's going to tell everybody else what to do, rather than, he just looks like that fella to me. Now, I'm not the judge, I wasn't on the jury, I'm just saying by the way he looks, okay? All right, according to the company, he told others what to do rather than doing jobs himself. We are extremely disappointed with the verdict as we believe it is not supported by the evidence presented at trial, which includes our reason for Mr. Duval's termination, said a Novant Health spokesperson. This is a dangerous precedent that could lead to more reverse racism discrimination cases in the United States. It also creates a false narrative that white men discriminate against based on race. They legalize that viewpoint in the court of law. So here's what has happened now, and this is why it's important to follow. The ruling has now become what we know as common law or case law. It sets judicial precedent, which now that precedent can be argued in similar cases that are filed anywhere in the United States of America. This needs to be overturned and overturned quickly. Now, I want to remind everyone, they presented virtually no evidence other than the fact that he was replaced by a black woman and then a white woman later. There was no email, no smoking gun. Nobody said on record or off record, we got rid of him because he's white. And the threshold is really, really high when you have to prove these cases in a court of law. For some reason, they let the threshold come way down here to award him 10 million bucks. Woz, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think that last part of what you mentioned is the most important one, right? If every black person, Latino person, Asian person, woman, gay person was replaced in their job, every time they were replaced in their job by a white man, listen, so many people would be getting tens of millions of dollars, right, Dr. Richey? Because that's generally what happens. Or, generally a white guy just doesn't lose his job, period, for any reason whatsoever. It's kind of sad to see this devolve into this sort of, as soon as a black person, as soon as a woman, as soon as somebody from a marginalized group ascends to any type of prominent roles in a company, it's gotta be because of some race quota or some affirmative action. And that's what I think is poisonous about our current discourse about representation, equity, et cetera. These guys then weaponize it whenever people of actual merit ascend to roles that they actually deserve. It's fascinating to see where this thing is gonna go.
Yeah, we're gonna keep our eyes on it because it sets a ridiculous and harmful precedent, and it should be overturned as soon as possible.